joining me. Good morning, Hope. Hi, Amanda. You right? Just gonna let a few of you sign in. Denise is with me. I think I've got a better setup today, guys. I hope you can see. Just push this back now so I don't need this. Kind of done this view so you can see. So you can see me a little bit more of what I'm doing. Super simple recipe today. I'm just going to let a few people sign in. Good morning, Deborah. We've got Sue. We've got Anthony. Hi guys, thank you for joining today. I'm just going to wait a few minutes while people join. So today we're going to do a Caesar salad. Super simple. We've got our Here Comes Summer vibes this week. So Day did a spicy nice cream yesterday, so I'm going to go with a nice salad. Obviously we all want to eat salads, and we want to pack them full of as much goodness as we can. I don't really tend to have salad dressings that much, but now and again you just want something just to kind of mix it up a little bit and make a salad a bit more of a treat. Hi Colleen. Hi Mama. Oh, it's not asparagus, I forgot to say, so we've got something under the rainbow today. I've copied Day. So the clue might be in the ingredient list, but we'll see where we go. Also, my drawings may not be the best clues, but we're just going to go with it, okay? So, guys, do you think this is a better setup? Can you see the ingredients rather than it being on the back wall? And then you can see my hands. I can see on the screen that you can see my hands. So let's get started. So I've already got my cashew nuts soaked. I popped them in some boiling water an hour ago, and I just popped them in here so they're drained. So it's about 1/4 cup, that's roughly 45 grams of cashews. I'm just going to pop that to one side. I'm just going to say in the tea towel I've got my 100 grams of firm tofu. So because it's so small, I'm not going to use my tofu press. I've just had it sitting in a tea towel. I'm just going to give it a gentle press, which I did when I popped it in, and then I just leave it wrapped in a tea towel for a while. So it's probably been in here half an hour. Obviously it doesn't need to be that long, it's just while I was prepping. But if you were just making this dish, I would just pop it in. You're going to do a firm press. We're going to make sure not to break the tofu. Sorry, let me just get rid of this so I can see comments. We've got Maria and we've got Ina with us. Thank you for joining today, guys. Yeah, I'm glad you can see the ingredients today. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for letting me know. So, my tofu is pressed just to get rid of the extra moisture because we're going to be making a dressing, so we want that dressing to soak into the tofu. So, I'm going to pop this to one side until we're ready to prep. And we're going to do our dressing first, so I'll grab that in a second. So, to make a simple Caesar salad dressing, super easy. So we've got cashew nuts. My recipe doesn't include capers. Sometimes I would pop them in just for that briny taste. So because I don't have any, I'm using the brine just from my jar of olives because that briny taste is what we expect in a Caesar salad dressing. Because I'm using the olives and because I've got some Worcestershire sauce going in, I'm not adding salt to my dressing. So that's why I put salt to taste, because if you want a bit of extra salt you can add it in. I would, for me personally, I don't want to. So we've got our cashews. Morning Paul. We've got our cashews. We're going to add in, I've got garlic powder and onion powder. So these are the ingredients. We've got garlic powder, we've got onion powder. I'm going to use some of the brine from my olives like I said. And we've got Worcestershire sauce. So I'm guessing you can get this in America. I think you can get it everywhere. This is just going to add an extra bit of spice and an extra bit of saltiness to the dressing. If you cannot access this, maybe just add an extra teaspoon of brine. A little bit of oil is going to go in. If you don't want to put the oil in, don't put it in. You might just want to add a bit of extra moisture. The oil's just going to add a little bit of an emulsifying texture effect to our dressing, just to bring it together a little bit. B12, nutritional flakes, I like the ones with B12 because I think they taste extra cheesy. And then Dijon mustard. So we want that mustard taste in our dressing. And we keep it all to one side so you can see. Hi Tor, thanks for joining today. Right, so we've got our nuts. We're going to add, I'm going to do the dry ones first just so they're not going to get stuck. So I'm going to do half a teaspoon each of onion powder and of garlic powder. So sometimes, obviously, you want to use whole foods. So obviously onions are better and garlic, whole garlic's better. But in a dressing, when you just want that flavour to come through, I'm going to use powders for dressings and sometimes sauces. Because otherwise we're going to have chunks of onion and we're going to have chunks of garlic through, and that's not what we want in a dressing. We want it to be as smooth as it can be. I'm going to move things out of the way as I use them so they're not to get in our way. So we've done our garlic powder, onion powder, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast for that cheesy flavour, because obviously in a Caesar salad dressing you're going to add Parmesan cheese, which is gross. And I never liked Caesar salads because of that horrible smell and taste. So we're going to get that nice cheesy note, that's subtle, but we're going to have the hints of the spice and the garlic and the saltiness just to bring it all together nicely. So I'm going to add half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Oh yeah, fantastic Tor, you're right. This isn't usually vegan, so if you do purchase it, you need to make sure that it's a vegan option. Thank you for reminding me of that. And then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of our olive brine. So because the olives have been sitting in this, their salty taste has got into the water, so that's just going to bring an extra bit of saltiness to our dressing. I'm going to add a teaspoon of oil. So this dressing, actually when I made this dressing, it was over a bigger salad, so I will have some left today, but I will use it up tomorrow. So sometimes what I like to do, I like to dress the salad, and then when we're using tofu, I'm going to let it sit in there a little bit in the fridge just to marinate and take the flavour in. And then I'm going to add a touch more if I want to when it's time to eat in it. So I'm going to add water to this to loosen it up rather than extra oil, because obviously we want to make sure we're not packing it too much with oil and fat. We've got a little bit in it, we've got a little bit of fats from the nuts. So using water is fantastic in any dressing and sauces just to loosen it up, and obviously we're not adding any extra calories or anything in. Colleen, I was really worried about saying Worcestershire sauce, never mind spelling it. I keep saying it wrong every time. Right, so I'm going to do 5 tablespoons of water. When we blitz it up, we'll just see what it's like. You may want to add a little bit more, you might not. It should be fine. I'm just going to say as well that I would normally do this in my high-speed blender because of the cashew nuts, but it's so loud, so I'm not going to do it on here. This works well enough, but there might just be kind of a little bit of graininess to the dressing rather than it being super smooth, but it still tastes as good. So that's all good, isn't it? So we've got all of our ingredients in. Oh no, didn't put the mustard in. I knew there was something missing. And we're going to go with a teaspoon of this. Hi Bobby, thanks for joining us today. Right, so we've got everything in. So I'm going to blitz this up, and that will be our dressing done. Just fit this in. Might be a little bit noisy for a second, guys. It shouldn't be too loud. I won't be a second. Ina, you have got it. It is a happy kale leaf under the rainbow. Peek, guys. I'm just going to do one more quickly. Right, so knock that off and we're ready. Just move this out of the way. It's just so you can see. Nice, smooth, runny. But as you can see, I don't know if you can tell on the spoon, just because I've only blitzed it in here for a really quick, what would you say, a minute, we've still got little bits of nuts, but I don't mind that. So if you want it to be smooth, you're going to blitz it for longer. I'm not going to do that to you guys, just because you're going to have to be listening to the blender and you don't need to. So we've got our dressing. So I've got 50 grams of kale. So kale is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to nutrients. It's so nutrient dense. It's packed full of fibre. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals. Our dark leafy greens, we know, are a great source of calcium. And all those phytonutrients that we want, all that goodness that we want to help keep us healthy, are in our kale. So when I buy my kale, I'll wash it, and we take off the really big thick stalks. Sometimes I'll have a chew on some of them just for that extra bit of fibre. I actually really like the taste of the stalks, but Jay doesn't. So these are just the leaves. So again, with the stalks, we're not going to throw them away. We're going to use them in our stock, so they go straight into our stock bag, or I'll really finely chop them. They can go into stews, so we don't throw them away, but I do really like to eat them. So I've got my kale leaves. I'm going to chop these up really roughly, but I want them small. So as much as we've got rid of those fibrous stalks, kale is still really fibrous. So if you've got a big piece of kale in your salad, it's not necessarily going to break while you're eating it, and it's a little bit messy. So we're going to chop it up roughly and as small as we can, not too small, and we don't need to be perfect about it, just to get rid of some of that fibrous, well, it's still in there, but we're just chopping it up a bit smaller for us so it's easier to eat. So I'm just going to chop that up nice and small. So one way to do it, I mean, there's no perfect way to do it. If you can roll it into a cigar shape, and you just go in to chop. So pile your leaves up, you can fold them over on each other. And you're just going to chop them up. Those are quite small, so I'm just going to leave those. This amount of kale is all I had left. So it's actually the perfect amount for a little salad. When you put the dressing on, if you want to eat it straight away, that's fine. But if you put the dressing on with the tofu and the kale and you leave it sitting to marinate for a little bit, it's going to break down a little bit. It's going to get a bit softer. So it does look less. But I want more goodness in this salad, and it's only the kale and the tofu, so I'm not adding any extra vegetables or lettuce. So as much as it might seem like a big bit of kale, it's a nice good portion. And this is our only greens going in, because this is our powerhouse, so we don't need to replace it with anything else. So with our tofu, I'm just going to check if there's any questions. Good afternoon, Paul. We always say good morning, and it's afternoon when we do it here, isn't it? But I know it's good morning for some of you guys overseas that tune in. I saw yesterday some of you saying that you set your alarms to come and watch, and you're just amazing. So I've got my 100 grams of tofu. I'm just going to chop this up into small cubes. So I'm actually going to slice this in half. So we've got our 2 blocks, and then just into strips. And then into our small cubes. So the smaller you cut it, the more surface area we're going to have overall, because we're going to have a lot more cubes. So that means a lot more dressing is going to get onto the tofu, if that makes sense. I'm not a scientist, I don't know how to explain these things. So yeah, you can still have big chunky bits of tofu if you want to, but I feel like the more little bits of tofu that are through the salad, and especially with our little curly kale, so that captures little pockets of dressing, and then the coating over the tofu, so you get kind of that smooth taste, and you'll get like a big pop of taste when you get a bit in the kale. So I'm going to add kale to the bowl. If you want to add any extra salad in, of course you can. Sometimes I might do this as a side dish, so I also eat it as a salad, but if I was having something and I wanted a bit of salad on the side and there wasn't really any protein in my meal, this could be my little bit on the side. So tofu straight in. I'm not going to add anything onto this tofu because my dressing is going to go in. And then these are going to go on. I'll take these lids off when we're ready. I knew I should have done this before. I hate having jars in the house because Jay is super strong and shuts them just normally for him, and then I can never get in them. Hi Catherine, thank you for joining today. I love that you come in from all over the world. You're so amazing. Right, I'm just going to pop the blade out of this because... sorry, it's stuck to the bottom. There we go. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take roughly half of the dressing and I'm going to coat it. I'm going to see if that's enough. If I want a bit more, I can add a bit more. You can add it all if you want. I would just be careful, probably not to eat it all in one go because we have got that teaspoon of olive oil in. So like I said, this is to go across 2 salads normally. But if you haven't put the oil in, then eat away. So we're going to pour our dressing on top. I hope you can see this. I'm just going to toss it through the salad. We're going to make sure that everything is coated. And like I said, I probably would leave this sitting in the fridge for an hour just so it can soak through. And then normally with a Caesar salad, you normally have things like croutons on there, but I don't want to add bread into my salad, so I decided to use seeds as my extra bit of crunch, because not only are they tasty, we're going to get some extra goodness in, we're going to get some extra fibre in, and we're going to try and keep this as whole foods as possible. So we've got our 100 grams of tofu, so you're roughly going to get about 12 grams of protein. We've got our kale, so we're packed full of goodness, and then we're going to get our omega-3s from our seeds. So we've got some hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds are great for omega-6, extra bits of crunch, and then pine nuts. So walnuts go really nice with this, but pine nuts have got that extra bit of creaminess. And they're not necessarily crunchy, but they've kind of got a really subtle crunch and a really smooth taste. And it just pairs really nicely. So with the dressing, you can make a bigger batch of this and keep it in the fridge for a couple of days. If you want to squeeze on some lemon juice, that also goes really nicely with it. I don't like to put it in because when it's kind of like a creamy, salty dressing. So I like to kind of put it on top of the salad totally up to what you want to do. But yeah, basically that's it today, guys. We've got our tofu and kale Caesar salad, packed full of goodness, fantastic to eat all year round, but especially now we're approaching summer, we want some nice salads that are gonna bring some freshness into our diet. So you can mix it up with some dressings. If you want us to try some other salad dressings, or if you've got some salad dressings that you want to share in the community group, you can do. If you haven't joined us before, make sure you go and join the community group, because that's where we share our recipes. So the recipe will be posted on there. I'll do it after the video. It'll also be on the Vegan Chef School website. Till the kale is raw, so I haven't cooked my tofu. I haven't cooked. Sorry to just interrupt. I'm just checking your questions then. I haven't cooked anything, so we've got some raw kale, so we're getting all of the goodness, all of the fibre. If you want to blanch it, you can do. But like I said, because it's quite fibrous, we're cutting it up. So we chopped it up nice and small. So when we're eating it, it's just fresh, crispy. Brings all that goodness. We're not going to lose anything through cooking. So yeah, like I said, guys, you can get your recipes on the Vegan Chef School website. Day will be with you tomorrow for another summary recipe. And next week, I will be doing, we'll be treating you with some different hummus recipes. So I can't wait to share that with you next week. If you want to see some of my other recipes, guys, you can head over to my Instagram page. I've got a Facebook page. I've also got a blog, pinchofkindness.com. And on Instagram and Facebook, it's just at Pinch of Kindness. So I share some of these recipes, but I also add some extra recipes on that I'm doing, and just blog posts about what's going on in my life, or kind of little insights into my journey. So I would like to thank you all for watching today. I hope this setup's been better. Maybe let me know in the comments, and if it is, we're going to try and do this every week. If I bring you a bit closer, kind of cuts my head off, but yeah, I think that this might be a bit better. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.